Hi, Sanal. Thank you so much for joining this podcast episode. Really appreciate it, man. How are you today?
Yep, doing great.
Yes, it's nice to have you in the show and super excited to learn more about your journey as well as we're going to talk about the mind and as well as how to manage our stress. So before that, can you share about your journey into business world, becoming a coach? When did you decide to want to be a coach?
Um, I initially it was the idea of being a being an exceptional teacher. I mean that was what I saw in my vision when I started off with this journey. It was I it coaching was not really what was in my head at that time.
Mm,
It was about becoming really adept and having the adequate, the requisite skills uh, to excel uh, in the profession. So I kind of saw it in that sense, and I guess coaching kind of evolved, you know, as an extension of my vision, I'd say.
all right. So what do you and coach on? What's your expertise and what area you help people?
With coaching, I am working on two, three levels. So one of the level is working on the level of relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because one of my basic motto is that we human beings are relational creatures. We relate to everything, and our relationship with things shape our experience of being with those things. Whether those things being people or situations or things or places or whatever it may be. So I help with that level. I help on that level of working with a relationship with things and letting people becoming more conscious
Mm-hmm.
of this fact that they have a choice in this world. And uh, into their life, just because of it. So yeah, help with people with that sort of level, and also I help people with the level of the semantics, meaning the level of the words. So helping people develop the semantic repertoire, I would say, you know, through which they are usually um, they are making sense of situation. So just by updating and enriching that repertoire of semantics, you can enrich your life experience. You can enrich a lot of it. So I help people with shifting their personal narratives to shedding more light into it, shedding more light into the stories that they are telling to themselves and to the world about themselves,
All right.
and helping them shift it. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're doing a quite lot, and you mentioned you teach as well in India whenever you go back, right?
yeah. I do.
So you are a teacher yourself, and obviously you do other things as well, like kind of coaching. So coaching is like a kind of teaching as well. So it's like a both you combining the things. So obviously you've been working with a lot of people in their mental health, with their personality and things like that. So this is why we chose the topic, which is talking about the mind and dealing with stress and how we can manage with the stress. So how do you manage your own stress and manage your own mindset?
Well, I do have three things, three ideas on which I choose to ground myself in, and it has took out. a considerable amount of stress, undue stress, I would say, because I'm not of the idea that all stress is bad stress. Uh, so undue stress, unnecessary stress that we kind of tend to bring to our life. Yeah, I do easily gravitate and navigate that by my grounding in these ideas. So those ideas are really simple. So on of number one is just grounding in the idea that whatever happens, I am okay, and
Right.
whatever I do, I am okay, Mm. and whatever I say, I am okay. So I just um, allows me to be really present in the situation, like even in social situations, like I'm not in my headspace, I'm really there, fully present, because I'm not speaking or operating from a place of inhibition, rather from a place of excitation, where I'm looking to create. I'm not operating from a place of self-protection and being
Mm.
the primary purpose I'm trying to fulfill. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. So more of a from like expecting, so expecting like a whatever happen and then accepting the
I'm
right.
yeah, I'm more so an attitude. So it's not even anything else other than a mental attitude that I'm bringing to the table with this stuff. So it's an attitude that I'm bringing. Whatever happens, I'm okay. So I'm not pitching. I'm not putting my trust on whatever is going to happen. I'm putting my trust on my capacity or my capability to handle
Yeah.
and create with uh, whatever happens.
Yeah. So you're focusing on
And
whatever you can control, right? Like whatever you cannot control, just leave it alone, then focus
exactly. So
on you control.
yeah, yeah. So I'm bringing just an attitude of competence to the table. Like
Mm.
I can, a
Yeah.
sense of competence that I'm bringing to the table. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just more about like being positive of the circumstances and whatever the outcome is, like you can handle it. You're just telling yourself that creating a belief system, like anything is
Yeah.
possible, right?
Yeah. Creating a strong resilience,
Yeah.
I would say, rather than positive thinking,
Mm.
because usually, we are very, very familiar with the trope of law of
Yeah.
attraction and positive thinking,
Yeah.
and this is very much more in the direction of resourceful thinking
Mm.
rather than positive thinking, because by positive thinking we tend to just think positively and tend to avoid any kind of thoughts that doesn't really align with that sort of positivity that we want to bring to the situation, right? So resourceful thinking has we are actually considering whatever those negative scenarios that we is popping up. We are not really excluding, or we are not trying to escape or trying to
Yeah.
keep that out. You're accepting the possibilities for these things to happen is there. So even if those things happen, you know what? I'll handle it.
Right.
So you're already seeing if this happens, you know what? I will handle it. So you're already having a different way rather than you were not being in no way prepared for any kind of sort of unprepared for scenarios even showing up, and
Yeah.
anything showing up, your attitude is it's all a problem. It's not a problem. I need to somehow solve that problem to reach my goal. So this attitude of treating things and situations that show up as a problem, that kind of tend to come as a part of it. So usually in other way around, you become a pathway finder. You're not
Mm.
looking at problems. You're not being a problematizer and gravitating towards problems. You're looking for, okay, what is it that I can make use out of this situation that
Yeah,
can take me closer to my vision, you know? So just like a attitude, yeah, an attitude shift.
yeah, that totally makes sense. So, Sanal, if someone comes to you and they have the problem with their stress management, with their mindset, what would be like your number one advice to them so they can overcome their stress?
Number one thing that I would suggest is just bringing this attitude of handling, being able to handle it, because mostly we build up this sort of like a fragility. We instead of building resilience in the mind, we build a lot of fragility within the mind. Both are different kind of qualities, but
Yeah.
we we don't really particularly want to be fragile as being our top quality,
Mhm.
right? So we bring in this kind of fragility through our semantics by uh, these kind of narratives about, oh, how if so and so situations happen, then I cannot handle that, or it's gonna
Right.
be so terrible if that handle that, or I'm just gonna be really struggling and suffering if those things happen. So you build in this kind of self-defeating narratives about your own incompetence, and guess those situations and emerge, or with those set of criterias that you fear, then you immediately just lose all your groundedness. So it's about like noticing
Mm.
this kind of self-defeating narratives that you are habitually used to describing, the stories through which you are making sense of yourself,
Right.
trying to, yeah.
All right. So that's great. Thank you so much for the advice. So, Sanal, we're nearly coming to end of this podcast. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show. So, those who's listening, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself, your business, where's the best place to find you?
Well, and anyone interested to learn more about this methodology, they can check out the website www.spirituallogic.com. So it's spiritual of logic. So there's just one L in the middle. So
Yeah.
spirituallogic.com. And everyone who is visiting, who is watching the podcast right now, um, they can go to the website www.podcastgiftnow.com and put in their email, and they get to watch like 7 or 8 hours of professionally recorded videos of talks that I have given here in Thailand on different topics.
All right.
So
That's
that's
great.
there.
Thank you so much for that. So, I wish you best of luck with your business, your personal life, and you have a wonderful day ahead.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming to the show today.
I really appreciate you showing up, and it was a beautiful co-creation. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Most
Likewise.
welcome. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast episode with Mr. Sanal today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If anyone wants to learn more about him, you can visit his website. You can find all of the information in there. So until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care.